Helldivers 2 has an assortment of different ways to play the game. We looked at the basics with your starting weapons and stratagems in the previous video, with an efficient way to start increasing your experience and collectibles to expand your arsenal later in the game. I maintain that when beginning, you should save up all the currency you earn before you start spending it on new equipment that you don't really know what the usefulness will be. Now you've ranked up. You've earned an abundance of medals and you're probably wondering what to do with it. Well, that's exactly what we'll be looking at in this video. The first thing I want to discuss are the primary weapons. We previously touched on the usefulness of the base AR-23 Liberator Assault Rifle, the different firing settings and how the weapon should be used when facing off against Terminids. We're going to look at each weapon type in the order you unlock them in the free war bond. As a refresher on the Assault Rifle, I use the burst setting with the medium range and only fire at what I see are guaranteed hits on enemies while not resorting to wasting ammo on blind fire escapes. The AR is great because it offers the user an incredible amount of control when firing while easily cutting through enemies, especially tougher Terminids like the Warrior and Hunter breeds. Armored bugs like the Hive Guide can also be taken care of easily with the AR, though I'd recommend something a bit stronger to get through their tough exoskeleton, such as our next weapon, the shotgun. The SG-8 Punisher shotgun in the Warbond costs 6 medals, and I would warn against selecting it unless you're very proficient with your pistol. Using a shotgun will completely change the way you play the game solo, and depending on your playstyle, may be your preferred way to take out bugs. Unfortunately, this isn't mine. The shotgun offers the benefit of having a weapon that does heavy damage without the precision or speed of the other weapons we'll be looking at. Using it requires you to be up close and personal with the Terminids, which with the base medium armor that you start off with is a rough place to want to be. The shotgun for me is a crowd control weapon, good for wiping out insects while retreating, which is why I strongly recommend refining your pistol skills before you start using a shotgun. This completely swaps my playstyle, where my pistol is now the primary weapon due to its precision, power, and ability to take out warriors and hunters in just a few shots. I use the shotgun when scavengers start swarming me and I have to make a hasty getaway. You don't need to be very accurate, and it does heavy damage fast. It's not ideal for solo use, unlike the next weapon we're going to look at. The R63 Diligence Marksman Rifle is my preferred primary weapon. This is a semi-automatic long-range rifle that favors precision and power over speed and crowd control. This is the perfect weapon to use when playing solo, as it allows me to maintain the maximum amount of distance between myself and the enemies while having the maximum amount of control over each encounter. It's perfect for clearing out hives and points of interest on the map, as this distance allows you to safely use grenades and other offensive stratagems from a safe area, while also making the most of the game's many vantage points. It even pairs well with a number of support weapons, such as the grenade launcher and the expendable anti-tank. It absolutely helps to use this with any stratagems that could be lethal to yourself. The SMG-37 Defender submachine gun may not feel like a huge upgrade from the AR-23, however I think it is an extremely overlooked weapon. This acts as a perfect balance between crowd control and power. It doesn't have the benefit of range compared to the assault rifle or the marksman rifle, but it packs a punch, being great to take out hordes of scavengers or even hive guards. A big benefit to the SMGs is that they're all one-handed, making it a choice weapon when carrying the objective in a data retrieval mission. It's also great for playing support when in a squad, which we haven't talked about at all yet, as I plan to return to the topic in a later video, along with picking classes when partying up. The last primary weapon we're going to look at is the LAS-5 Scythe energy weapon. Now, my experience with this gun is minimal. It's pretty pricey and sits on page 5 of the Warbond, so I haven't unlocked it myself, but I may leave it that way for a little while. This gun shoots a pretty powerful beam of energy that you can fire continuously for at least 8 seconds. It's long range and perfect for slicing through weak Terminids in a hurry, but it's almost useless against any bugs with heavier armor. Most rounds can deflect off the armor from many of the more powerful insects, including the beam from this weapon, making you rely heavily on grenades, stratagems, your sidearm, or a friend to take care of the bigger bugs on the map. As I said, I'm holding off on actually upgrading to the weapon as I don't really think it's that useful to me. My only experience with the LAS-5 is when a teammate has dropped it, which has only happened about 2 or 3 times, so if there's a request for me to take a more in-depth look at it, I'll have to come back around in a future video. Let's move on to secondary weapons. At the moment, there is only one available weapon type, that being the pistol. However, both of the currently available pistols are different enough that I'll talk about each individually, starting with the default P2 Peacemaker. This is the standard sidearm pistol that most will probably rely on as a crutch for when their primary runs out of ammo and there's no time to reload. But I think there's a lot more to the Peacemaker than that, which you probably gathered from my breakdown of other weapons. This is an incredibly reliable short-range gun, and when using long-range rifles, it's the ideal way to pick off scavengers that are closing in on you so you can save your primary ammo for the bigger bugs. It reloads incredibly fast and offers fast maneuverability when you find yourself in a bind. The P19 Redeemer is extremely different. You can use this as a precise close-range tool similar to the P2, but the real advantage of the Redeemer is the automatic fire to clear out large groups of nearby bugs. The way I find this weapon is most effective is when paired with the Marksman Rifle. After clearing out the bigger bugs from a wide distance, scavenger terminids will almost definitely begin to close in on you, and when this starts to happen, I'll switch to the P19 and cut through the swarm while retreating, reloading, and preparing to finish off the stragglers. The biggest downside though is how fast this weapon runs out of ammo. By default, you can only carry 4 clips for your sidearm, and the Redeemer can empty its entire capacity in seconds. So unless you're planning on calling in multiple resupplies in each mission, I would recommend using this weapon sparingly. We're going to wrap this up with the last piece of equipment you'll drop with, your grenades. I don't have too much to say about this, as each of the grenades are fairly self-explanatory in their use and efficiency, but a couple of pointers I have is number 1, don't try and close bug holes with impact grenades, it does not work out. As for the other grenades, be very wary about throwing them at armored enemies. I have had many grenades bounce off of hive guards just to detonate right at my feet. And my last piece of advice is when you're playing with a group, let your teammates know when you're throwing grenades in certain bug holes before they try and throw them in too and end up dying in the process. It seems like we're going to be getting different types of specialty grenades in the future too, as all of the current grenades are marked as standard, so it'll be exciting to see how this shakes things up. There you have it though, a breakdown on each of the weapon types offered in Helldivers 2 currently, and a look at each of the first weapons you'll unlock in the game for each type. We are only scratching the surface though, there is still so much more to discuss, especially with the premium warbond and all the additional weapons that can be unlocked as you progress through each warbond. If you want to see a follow-up video, let me know by leaving a like on this video and comment down below. And be sure to subscribe for all future Helldivers related videos we have in the future. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.